हे झालं
धन्यवाद
आता.
धन्यवाद माताजी. हरे कृष्णा. Hare Krishna. Would anybody else like to announce their names? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Today we are starting the introduction of Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. Shri Gopal Prabhuji, please take over the pardon. Hare Krishna.
So, am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. So, today there is no words, but we'll start with the introduction of Bhagavad Gita. It's surprising, but it's at the same time very wonderful to see the dedication of all devotees. After completing the Bhagavad Gita, again we are starting reading the same book, Bhagavad Gita. It's wonderful in one way. Repetition is always required. Prabhupada writes in third chapter, one of the purports, around 15 or 14, somewhere around there. Repetition of repetition is very important. Why? Because just by repetition, the understanding goes deeper and deeper. We keep repeating and reading the Bhagavad Gita again and again. There's so much in Bhagavad Gita that we can understand very clearly, and we can uh, go, we can grow our knowledge actually in great depth. So it's nice, wonderful to see that we are again starting the Bhagavad Gita after completing the 18th chapter. We'll start with the prayers. Om Jnananjana Shalakaya Tam Vena Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapena Bhutale Rati Sa Vande Shri Guru Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamischa Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sarvana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Dalita Sri Vishasam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyat Desatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaurakshe Namah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate गोपेश गोपिकांत राधा कांत तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुष्ठ देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम परायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नमामि गौरक्षे नमः वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So the introduction of Bhagavad Gita is a very wonderful thing. Prabhupada starts with the Mangalacharan, invoking the blessings of all the great acharyas, by reciting the beautiful prayers to the Guru Parampara and seeking their blessings before starting the Mangalacharan. And in one of the first paragraphs of the introduction, Prabhupada writes a very beautiful thing what has happened to him. That he was in America, and one of the ladies here had approached Prabhupada and asked her that do we have a particular commentary on Bhagavad Gita which I can read. And there Srila Prabhupada felt that what commentary he should recommend. And during that time, he starts writing the Bhagavad Gita again, the commentary on Bhagavad Gita again. And he has the manuscript, he has already written it, but he hasn't printed it yet. So he tells one of his friend had approached, and one of the ladies had approached, and then that he wanted to speak about the Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is also called as Gita Upanishad, the song sung by the Lord Krishna, and it is the essence of all the Vedic knowledge, most important Upanishads in the Vedic literature. If we see, there are three ways or three divisions of attaining the knowledge. One is, it's like if you see, it's divided into Shruti Purans, Smriti Purans, and Nyaya Prasthans. So, in under Shruti Purans, they are hearing of Upanishads, Vedic instructions, and everything comes under Shruti. Whatever you hear, you memorize, and you repeat it. Or you can hear it and remember it. So these are like Shruti Upanishads, and then there is Smriti Upanishads. Smriti Upanishad means whatever you remember it very nicely, like Bhagavad Gita, Puranas, Mahabharatas. All these itihasas. What you hear from there, and then what they indicate Smriti Puranas indicates the ultimate goal of the life. And then there is Nyaya Prasthans. Nyaya Prasthans is where there is logic, reasoning to understand the Supreme Lord. Vedanta Sutras are mentioned in that. Brahma Sutras are mentioned in that. So these are like the three divisions of the knowledge. Shruti Prasthans, Smriti Prasthans, and Nyaya Prasthans. And according to these three divisions, and there are different, different ways of getting the instructions. So Shruti Prasthans gives the Vedic instructions what are there, and Smriti Prasthans give the indications to the ultimate goal of the knowledge. And Nyaya Prasthans, they logically explain the sutras, or explain the reasoning behind accepting these Shruti Prasthans and Smriti Prasthans. So Bhagavad Gita comes under Smriti Prasthans, that is remembrance. It comes under the remembrance of the indicating the ultimate goal of the life. And then Prabhupada writes that there are many commentaries on Bhagavad Gita which are there. But what is most important is why why one should read Bhagavad Gita as it is. Prabhupada writes very clearly that none of the above commentaries of Bhagavad Gita are authoritative. Why? Because most of the time the commentators have given their own opinion about Bhagavad Gita without touching the spirit of Bhagavad Gita. And he writes in one of the in the introduction that one of the presidents or one of the great leaders in India, he started commenting on his own opinion that Krishna is not telling him to surrender. And that is, I think, Rajendra Prasad, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, one of the presidents of India. He wrote a commentary on Bhagavad Gita, telling that you should, man manava man bhakto. Here, man is me, the author has to, someone should surrender to the author, or worship the author. So he starts writing his own commentaries, and Prabhupada literally declines that commentary. And he tells that many leaders used Bhagavad Gita as a opinion of non-violence. But whereas Bhagavad Gita never tells that it's non-violence is just the only thing what is been taught in Bhagavad Gita. So many people use Bhagavad Gita for their own purposes, and many have written their own commentaries. But what is the best commentary? That's why Prabhupada tells in the introduction that I am presenting this Bhagavad Gita as it is, what what Krishna wanted. So the spirit of Bhagavad Gita is mentioned in the Gita itself. What is the spirit of Bhagavad Gita? Like Prabhupada gives the example of taking medicine as per the direction given by the physician, not by our own whims. If you go to a doctor and doctor gives you the prescription for accepting the medicine for your disease, and you want to take the medicine according to your own timing, according to your own availability, or according to your taste, then that medicine is not proper. So Prabhupada tells very clearly that whatever the physician has told, if we take the Gita, if we take the medicine, if we take the message of Gita, according to the, if we take the message of Gita according to the physician, what has been prescribed, then it becomes easy. So Bhagavad Gita, whatever has been spoken by the Lord Krishna, if we don't accept it according to his words and just give one or commentary, then it's very, very difficult. We just cannot understand. We cannot understand the context of Bhagavad Gita then. So Prabhupada writes Bhagavad Gita should be accepted as directed by the speaker, Lord Krishna. And then what happens, Prabhupada writes in the introduction, what all things he's been discussing, that Lord Krishna is establishing himself as the Bhagwan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And who is confirming this? Great acharyas like Ramanacharya, Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbaka Swami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all this Narad Muni, others, so many great souls and the spiritual masters are confirming this fact that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And at least Prabhupada writes in one of the lines that theoretically at least one should accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then our Bhagavad Gita understanding can go deeper and deeper. So, one should read and understand the Bhagavad Gita as directed by Krishna, or else by our own whims, by our own conceptions, our own mental speculation. If we try to read Bhagavad Gita, if we try to understand Bhagavad Gita, then it's not possible. So Vishnu Puran, gives the definition of Sri Bhagwan according to Parasar Muni. Aishwaryasya samargasya viryasya yashashriya jnana vairagya chaivam sananam bhagwan sananam bhagya itagraham. Parasar Muni tells who is the Supreme Lord Bhagwan. He tells that one who is full in six opulences. What are the six opulences of Bhagwan? Anyone wants to tell?
He has all the strength.
Okay, all strength. Who else? Only one.
He has a fame, beauty.
All fame, beauty. Okay, three are
wealth.
Wealth. Okay.
Knowledge.
Knowledge.
Renunciation.
Renunciation. Yes. So fame, wealth, knowledge, beauty, renunciation. And these are all, and strength, fame, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation. These are the six opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So according to Parasar Muni, any personality who has these opulences in full, not just in minute quantity, but in full, is to be considered the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if we consider how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead very easily, we understand these opulences are in Krishna in full. And what to speak of Krishna, how Krishna becomes so attractive because of having these opulences. Actually, if you see, as a spirit soul, we also get few of his opulences. And if one of the opulences is more in quantity in the spirit soul, he becomes very, very famous, or he becomes very, very attractive. Like if you see practical example, like many people are attracted to a personality who is very beautiful, like actors or actors, who are very beautiful, who are acting very beautifully. Many people are attracted. Why? Because the beauty aspect or this aspect, this opulence is there more in that living entity. Or just take knowledge, many people who are attracted to person who is very, very knowledgeable. Like Einstein was there. A lot of people were attracted during his era. When Einstein was presenting any papers, many were like just trying to follow what he's trying to explain. And now also if we see any person who is very wealthy, like we have the world richest person, Elon Musk. So many people all over the world are attracted to him, because of his wealth. So people are attracted, and because of because some people are attracted to the fame. Many might not have anything else, but his fame is spread all over the world. Then he's very, very attractive. So in that way, these opulences are are the one which attracts us to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So any personality who has these opulences in full is to be considered as Supreme Personality of God. So again, Prabhupada writes in the introduction that how this message was received in disciplic succession. Prabhupada writes in the 4th chapter also how this knowledge, evam parampara praptam, this knowledge was first described to Lord Vivashwan. From Lord Krishna, he described it to the sun god Vivashwan. And from Vivashwan, it was described to Manu, and Manu to Ishvaku. And this knowledge was received in disciplic succession. But then, over a period of time, it got lost. And so, there was a purpose for Lord Krishna to speak the Bhagavad Gita again. And he chose who? He chose Arjuna to be his first disciple while speaking the Bhagavad Gita again. And then Robert writes, what are the qualities required to understand Bhagavad Gita? What qualities are required? The qualities that for a disciple or for a person to understand Bhagavad Gita is that he should be a devotee of Krishna. That is very important. Many get a copy of Bhagavad Gita, but it's very difficult to understand Bhagavad Gita easily just by reading. Unless one becomes the devotee of Krishna or comes in the association of devotees and tries to understand Gita, uh, try to understand Gita through him, then only it's possible that really uh, he can really understand Gita. Or else without the association of Gita, or without the association of devotees, or without being a devotee of Krishna, one just tries to read Bhagavad Gita by his own. He may understand little bit, but he cannot understand the complete depth in what has been spoken. And other quality what Krishna mentions in the 9th chapter, first verse is that he is non-envious. Arjuna was non-envious and he was the friend of Krishna. So he had a relationship with Krishna. So anyone who's trying to understand Krishna or the message of Gita, he should be a devotee of Krishna and he should have a very wonderful relationship with Krishna. So this has to be like always be considered. These are the qualities what are required. Prabhupada writes very clearly. And then Prabhupada writes, there are many people who approach the Lord, and want to understand the Bhagavad Gita. He tells about that there are three classes of transcendentalists. One is Jnani, other is Yogi, and other is Bhakta. Jnanis are impersonal personalities who are trying to approach the Lord by meditating on the Brahman feature of the Lord. Whereas yogis are one who are meditating on the Paramatma feature of the Lord. Whereas Bhakta is worshipping the Supreme Lord in person and is establishing his relationship with the Supreme Lord. Just by establishing the relationship with the Supreme Lord, he is able to understand, he is able to connect to the Supreme Lord within the heart and establish his relationship. And that's how, his relationship is established. And then Prabhupada explains ahead what are the different ways of having relationship with Krishna. What are the different ways? There are 5 primary rasas. Anyone knows the 5 primary rasas in which the relationship with the Supreme Lord is established?
As a servitor?
Yes, as a servitor. 1.
Friend?
Friend.
What is that? Close relation, paramour? No.
No, paramour is different.
Conjugal.
Conjugal lover. Yes, conjugal lover. Yes. And
Vatsalya.
Vatsalya, yes. Parental Vatsalya rasa. And what else? One more is there.
Shanta.
Shanta rasa, yes. Shanta rasa. So Prabhupada writes very clearly that how these 5 rasas are the primary rasas of establishing our relationship with the Supreme Lord. And every living entity can establish his relationship with the Supreme Lord in these rasas. He tells about Shanta rasa. They are like trees, fruits, grass, and cows and other living entities in Golok Vrindavan who have this Shanta rasa, passive state of having relationship with the Supreme Lord. And then there is active state or dasya bhav or the mood of a servant. And that is, there's so many devotees who are exhibiting this dasya bhav, like Lord Hanuman is there. He's having the dasya bhav of serving Lord Sri Ram. And there is this Sakya Bhav. Sakya Bhav is exhibited by Arjuna. Arjuna and a lot of his friends, Subal, Madhumangal and others, those who are like in the mood of friend, worshipping or serving Lord Krishna in that rasa. And then there is Vatsalya Bhav. Vatsalya Bhav is exhibited by her parents, Mother Yashoda, Vrinda Maharaj, Rohini, and others, Vasudev, Devaki. They have that Vatsalya Bhav. And then there is conjugal rasa, which has been exhibited by the gopis. So these are the rasas which are primary. According to Chaitanya Charitamrita, there are 7 more rasas actually. हास्य अद्भुत वीर्य करुणा रुद्र विवित्स भाग्य panchavidha bhaktagana saptarasa hasya. In addition to the five main rasas, primary rasas, there are seven more indirect mellows known as rasa of known as laughter. Where people laugh. There people are wondered. This rasa is exhibited when people are shocked, and chivalry rasa is there, compassionate rasa is there, angry rasa is there, and then there is rasa of disaster, and then fear. So these are like five secondary rasas, and there are five primary rasas which are exhibited, by which we exhibit our relationship with the Supreme Lord. But for Prabhupada writes very, very wonderfully in the introduction that perfection of one's constitutional rasa is his bhav of having this uh, rasa as dasya bhav. This uh, that everyone has a particular relationship with the Supreme Lord, and that is called the Sarup. And what is his Sarup? His Sarup is being in the mode of servant, just establishing his relationship to revive his relationship on the mode of having his relationship with the Lord in the mode of servant. And then Prabhupada writes ahead that how Arjuna accepted Bhagavad Gita. How did Arjuna accepted Bhagavad Gita? He quotes the verse. He's very astonished when Krishna exhibits or shows his universal form. And as soon as in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna shows his universal form. And Arjuna is very, very astonished, and he prays to Krishna by bowing down before him, chanting the verse Parabrahma Parabdhamam Pavitram Paramam Bhavam Purusham Sasvatam Devyam Adidevam Ajambavidam. And he goes on actually chanting this very beautiful mantras, telling how the Supreme Lord is Parabrahma, you are the Supreme Truth. Param Dhamam, he is the ultimate abode, where everyone is wanting to go to that abode. Pavitram, he is the most purest. He's not touched or he's not tainted with any of the material contaminations. That is the Supreme Lord Krishna, whom I am waiting to be in association with. Param Bhavam, the absolute truth, he is that Param Bhavam. And Purusham, he is the Purusham, he is the supreme enjoyer, he is the supreme maintainer, he is the supreme controller. And then he is Sashvatam, he is eternally existing. Whereas we as the living entities are not eternally existing because we don't have a spiritual body, we have material body. And he is Daivyam, he is transcendental. And then he is Adidev, he is original supreme personality of Godhead. So he's praying very beautifully in these verses how Adidevyam, and then he's telling Ajam. Ajam is what? He's unborn. And Vibham, the greatest of all the demigods. So he's telling very beautifully that everyone accepts the Supreme Lord. Ahastamrasya sarvam devarshi naradastata asito devalavasya swayam cheva bhavis me. Narada has accepted, Asita has accepted, Devala has accepted, and I totally accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead, declaring myself that, and neither the demigods or the demons can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead fully. So what to speak of me? Only by the blessings of the Supreme Lord can I understand this in the Supreme Lord. So Arjuna is accepting Bhagavad Gita or Lord Krishna in this purest form actually. And then again Prabhupada tells very beautifully after writing this thing that one should read Bhagavad Gita in a submissive spirit, else it's very, very difficult to understand Bhagavad Gita because it's a great mystery. No one can easily understand. As I was telling earlier also, no one can easily understand. I remember this story of how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so wonderfully traveling through the South Indian Yatra. And while traveling, he comes to this place called Srirangam. And during the Srirangam visit, he meets Venkata and others. But while living in Ranganath, while going to take darshan of Lord Ranganath, he observed while going that there is a one Brahmana who is sitting in the Ranganath temple and is constantly reading Bhagavad Gita and chanting, and he's crying actually. And many people go up around him, other Brahmanas, they were laughing seeing his position. What is he doing? Sometimes he's crying, sometimes he's laughing, and many people are just mocking him around, making joke of him. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very astonished to see that he's really crying just by reading Bhagavad Gita. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu approaches this Brahman and he asks, what is it? I see that, you are feeling in great ecstasy by reading this Bhagavad Gita. What you are reading, please let me know. What is your understanding? Please let me know. And this Brahman tells, oh, I am an illiterate person. I sometimes, read Bhagavad Gita. Not sometimes, I read Bhagavad Gita daily because of the instruction given by my spiritual master. And my spiritual master has instructed me to read Bhagavad Gita daily. So I'm trying to fulfill his instruction by reading Bhagavad Gita. And it's very, very difficult because I'm an illiterate person. I sometimes recite the verses properly, sometimes don't recite the verses properly. Sometimes my understanding is proper or not. But whenever I open the Bhagavad Gita and read, I am so stuck and wondered how Krishna is such a merciful personality of God. It is such a wonderful personality that he's leaving his position as a supreme lord and is trying to become the servant of Arjuna by becoming a charioteer. What kind of bhakta vatsalta is shown, exhibited by the Supreme Lord? So he's so established, so he's so stunned. Every time I open the pages of Bhagavad Gita and read, I see this form of how Lord Krishna has become Partha Sarthi and is ready to do anything for the protection of his devotee. Just by seeing this, I feel great ecstasy and I start crying actually. And seeing this, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells that, oh, other Brahmanas might be reciting the Bhagavad Gita or know the meaning of Bhagavad Gita, but they have lost the spirit of Bhagavad Gita because they are not submissive. They don't understand the position of the Supreme Lord. They don't understand the position of the Guru and the value of the instruction what has been given. So this is what Krishna tells, Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita's introduction, that Bhagavad Gita should be understood by the spirit of Bhagavad Gita, by understanding the spirit of devotion. Without devotion, without having devotion towards the Lord, it's very, very difficult actually that one can read or accept Bhagavad Gita easily. So Prabhupada tells very clearly. Here again he tells one should accept at least Krishna as the Supreme Lord, theoretically at least. And then Prabhupada writes ahead. What he writes ahead is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. What is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita purpose is to deliver the mankind from the nuisance of material science. This material world is a place where everyone comes and gets stuck. Yesterday when I was speaking to the few boys here, one boy was telling, Roji, here after coming to US only, I feel I'm got stuck here only. Then I was telling, not just you, everyone who has come to this material world is got stuck. Like the pure drop, soul by nature is very, very pure. But what has happened? Just because coming in touch with this material world or from the cloud when the pure water falls, it's very, very pure. But as soon as it comes in touch with the dirt here, it gets contaminated. And it gets contaminated and it's the pure water, if it comes in touch with the mud, it becomes muddy and it gets contaminated very easily. Same way the soul, spirit soul, which is very, very pure in nature, but just in coming in touch with the material mode, just because of the false identification, because of the false ego, it gets contaminated very easily. And because of the false identification, I am this body, I have this family, I have my body, my friends, my relatives, my car, my house, my country, my community, all these designations are just like upadhis, or they add on to the ego of the person, and it's very difficult for him to get out of these material designations. And because of this thing, he gets stuck in this material world, just trying to fulfill his purpose by identifying with wrongly with this material world. But he never identifies himself with the false with the pure soul. Only when he's frustrated in the material world, trying to enjoy in this material world, trying to find happiness in even in the drop, even in the even in the wildest nature, wildest thing, what he's trying to enjoy and trying to find happiness, like trying to find water in the oasis, he's trying to find happiness in this material world. Everywhere, every time, he just wants to be happy, but he never understands how can he be happy. As a spirit soul, the nature is to be happy. because he's Sachidananda Vigraha. He's Sachit Ananda. He's full of Ananda, but he doesn't know what is the right Ananda he's supposed to get. And then he's just the soul is just striving, trying to find happiness, trying to be a controller, trying to be an enjoyer, trying to be the proprietor, trying to um, control everything, or and then there are these so many anarthas which are occupying, which are contaminating his thing. So it's very very difficult for the spirit soul to become purified. But what is the purifying method what Krishna has given us? The purifying method Krishna has given us is the process of devotional service. The same way the muddy water, when it is filtered, when the muddy water is taken and is gone through the process of filtration, it becomes pure eventually, because the process of filtration removes all the dirt, whatever is been whatever the pure water has got. Just like pouring the water through the filter, one filter after another. After few filtration, the water comes to a pure state. Same way, the spirit soul also can become purified. Just how? Just by coming in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just by coming in touch with the pure process of devotional service. And what is the purest process of devotional service? Is by the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. That is recommended in the Shastras throughout the ages, that this chanting the name of the Lord is recommended. So unless and until one takes the process of devotional service, unless and until one takes the process of chanting very seriously, he doesn't get purified. And this is one of the purposes of Bhagavad Gita, that a person should be delivered from this material, from this nuisance of this material existence. And Prabhupada further explains, every man is full of difficulty and is in great anxiety. So much anxiety in this material world. He's been put into this asat, temporary material world, and he wants to find a eternal, permanent place here in this material world. But he's eternal. The soul is eternal, and it's trying to find, um, trying to find a permanent place in a very temporary situation. Like the Prabhupada gives one more example in one of the lectures, that uh, how children actually go to the beach and they try to construct a very beautiful castle there, sand castle, considering that this will be my home forever. But will that be the home forever? No, it won't be. As soon as the evening comes, parents tell, let's go back to our real home. That is what they consider to be real home. But is that the real home? That home also is very very temporary. The castle is also very temporary. The home which we have also is very very temporary. How long we live? We live for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, and then after, as soon as this body is gone, this place is also very very temporary. So Prabhupada writes very clearly actually, that we are trying to find permanent happiness in this temporary asat place, temporary place, trying to find permanent happiness, which is not possible. And then out of many such sufferings, if one, after suffering a lot, if a person becomes very very inquisitive and he wants to inquire about the solutions, Prabhupada writes, that is the point where people really want to come to the right understanding. And then that inquiry is in Brahma Sutras. There is called Brahma Jigyasa, Atato Brahma Jigyasa. That is what is required for a spirit soul, that he should try to inquire about the Supreme Lord. Unless such inquiry comes, one cannot become the sincere follower of Bhagavad Gita. So, for such sincere students only, Bhagavad Gita is spoken. So, Bhagavad Gita is spoken when there is inquisitiveness to know about the Supreme Lord more easily, more clearly. So, this is the purpose for which the Bhagavad Gita is spoken. That every living entity should come out of this asat place, this temporary place, and come to the eternal place. Find the abode of the Supreme Lord. Go back to the spiritual world. Which is, the Lord is waiting actually. The Lord is waiting, and He's really wanting every living entity to come back to the material world. Why just suffer in this material world? This material world is like a place of suffering every time. Padam padam yad vipatam naposam. There is problem at every step in one way. And we living entities are like so much in in an opposite mentality, trying to find happiness at every step. Every step we take in our life, we want to be very happy. In fact, we consider, making all our choices and decisions in our life that, how I can be more happy. If I do this course, will this may be very helpful for me? If I, get into this job, I'll be very happy or not. If I, get married to such a person, will I be very happy? If I come and live here, will I become very happy? So this mentality of finding happiness is so strongly rooted actually. But we are trying to find happiness in a wrong place. Same happiness can be found when we serve the Supreme Lord. That's what Bhagavad Gita is teaching. That you just change your direction. Try to find happiness by serving the Supreme Lord, and you will be very happy. But we are trying to find happiness in this material world, in the temporary things, which are very, very temporary. We cannot find happiness. So, Bhagavad Gita is spoken to destroy this illusion that one can be enjoyer, one can be controller, one can be proprietor. So one should definitely try to give up this mentality. Bhaktaram yagatapasam sarvalokam maheshwaram suruda sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shantirasati. Prabhupada, Krishna is telling in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that Bhaktaram yagatapasam, that we should give up this mentality of one should give up this mentality of enjoying ship, controllership, proprietorship, and try to understand who is the supreme enjoyer, supreme proprietor, and supreme controller. And unless and until we come to this conclusion, it's very, very difficult that we'll be able to understand the purpose for which Bhagavad Gita is spoken. Next, Prabhupada writes in the introduction very easily, very wonderfully about the reasons for Lord Krishna's appearance. And what are the reasons? Someone can tell what are the reasons for Lord Krishna to appear?
Prabhuji, like what unhappy, or like what troubled by, then he comes.
Okay, when troubled by
Something other. Yeah.
He comes to protect his devotees by
yes.
killing the demons. That's one of the reasons.
To save the dharma.
Yes, Mataji. That's what I was looking for. What is that?
To save the dharma.
Yes, to save the dharma, yes. Yada yada hi dharmasya yadam bhavati bharata. To re-establish the real purpose of the life, he comes. To establish the religion again, he comes actually. So Lord Krishna comes out of, his compassion towards all the spirit souls actually. And to re-establish dharma, to annihilate the miscreants and to protect the devotees, he mercifully comes. And Prabhupada writes that what is the position of Arjuna? Arjuna is a close associate of Lord and is above the ignorance. He has put himself into ignorance. Now here Prabhupada writes very beautifully after, while establishing the appearance of Lord Krishna, that why Arjuna has been put in this situation. Arjuna is a pure devotee, but he's put in this situation because he just to set an example so that he can give the message of Bhagavad Gita or deliver the message of Gita. That's why Arjuna is put in this position of being an ignorant person or putting him in a bewildered state of mind. So this is what has been the reason for Lord to appear. Now if we see, Prabhupada writes ahead that Baldev Vidyabhushan describes the 5 subject matters of Bhagavad Gita. What are the 5 subject matters of Bhagavad Gita? Anyone?
Earth, water.
No, that are not the 5 subject matters of Gita. That are the body, the
Body. Yes, sorry.
which has been made up of.
Something to do with Prakriti?
Okay.
Yeah, the Ishwar,
Okay.
Kala,
Jiva,
Ishwar, Kala,
Shiva,
Prakriti.
Prakriti,
and one more.
Ishwar, Kala,
Ishwar, Jiva,
Karma, Karma.
Karma. Yes.
Kal time is there.
Yes. All 5 are there. Ishwar, Jiva, Prakriti, Kal, and Karma. So Ishwar, the supreme controller, has been discussed very nicely in Bhagavad Gita. Then there is discussion of Jiva, the living entity, who is controlled by the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is the Ishwar is the supreme controller, and the Jiva is controlled and conditioned. So this is the nature of the Jiva. that is controlled and is conditioned. And conditioned by what? By Prakriti, the material nature. And then what is there? What is acting is the Kala is acting to keep the Jiva in this material world. And there is this Jiva performing different activities are nothing but karma. So they are, you know, few things which are eternal. What are the eternal things in this one?
Time,
Okay, time is eternal.
Prakriti,
Prakriti is not eternal.
Ishvara is ever eternal, the
Ish-
Supreme Lord.
Ishwar is eternal and
entity,
Ishwar and Kala is eternal. Yes.
living entity also, Prabhuji, because we are not the body.
Yeah. Living entity in one way it's eternal, but because he's getting different types of body, he's considered as temporal.
Okay.
Soul, Prabhuji, Atma.
No, Atma is there. That is eternal. But only Ishwar and Kal is eternal. Whereas three aspects of Jiva, Prakriti, and Karma, these are not eternal because these are changing. Prakriti changes his nature. Jiva also changes his nature. Nature in the sense Jiva changes the body. He gets different bodies, according to the activities or according to the karma he does. He changes his condition. So his nature is getting changed every time. Like sometimes he's getting the body of a pig, sometimes he's getting the body of a human being, sometimes he's getting different consciousness of in human being also there are different consciousness what he's getting through. So they're different consciousness. So this is coming changing again and again. Whereas Kal is never changing, neither the Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, is never changing. Prakriti is also changing. Why Prakriti is changing? Prakriti sometimes is established, sometimes it's in annihilated mode, sometimes in its maintenance mode. So Prakriti is also changing. And the third thing, karma, is again changing depending on the choices or the desires of the living entity, and according to his available, um, according to the desire and according to his previous conditionings, whatever he is acting, and whatever he is performing, the karma is changing again and again. So these three things are changing. That is, Jiva is changing, Prakriti is changing, and karma is changing. Whereas Ishwar and Kal, these are eternal actually. So this will be there, always will be there.
Prabhuji, can you also explain this in English? Like Prakriti is material nature, right?
Yes, Prakriti is material nature.
So can you also explain which is changing, which is not changing from English terminology?
Okay, the supreme controller, God and time is eternal. Okay, and the jiva, the living entity, material nature, and the activities or karma is always changing. Material nature means the material nature. If we see the nature of this material world is the in one state. It sometimes it's in the state of uh, it's in the state of this is called inferior nature of the Supreme Lord, and it's not eternal. It's not eternal because sometimes it's in the state of like it's like Pradhan is there. Pradhan in the sense it's like raw form of very easy example to understand. Raw in a industry when we take when we want to make any object, what happens? First, there is raw material like cement, or just I'm giving an example like this. There is cement, there is bricks, there is cement, there are this what do you call this? Poles are there, and for construction, whatever is required is very very raw. It's like the sand is there, the bricks are there, everything is very very raw. But when we construct a house, then all these things combine together. It's like the prakriti or the engineer is coming and making the house ready for the construction, for the living entity to live, or for the person to live. And when the house is constructed, it's getting like the house is getting constructed, and after the construction is over, then a time comes when the house starts into maintenance mode. And after maintenance mode, a time comes when the house deteriorates, and then this house is completely destroyed also at one time. So same way with the material nature also is like that. Material nature, it's at one state, is in a very raw state. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, all combined together, they are like a pradhan, who are kept together. And by the desire of the Supreme Lord, when he glances on this on this Pradhan, and Lord Shiva, carries that Pradhan and impregnates the material nature, and then immediately impregnates the material nature with all the jivas. Then there is life in that material. And then Lord Brahma, who is the secondary creator, he creates the all different universes. He creates the different planetary systems, and then he gives a secondary creator. He creates all different universes in this planetary systems. There are different planets what are been created by Lord Brahma. And then eventually what happens? Then there is life which has been produced because the living entities have been given to the material nature, and they are lying inside the material nature. So this is about Prakriti. And there is Jiva. Jiva, like, if Jiva is there, Jiva is eternal part and or parcel of the Supreme Lord. But at the same time, it's like Prabhupada gives the example of gold and gold mine. The gold is a particle of gold, but the gold mine is completely like full of gold. So Lord Ishwar or the Supreme Lord is like a gold mine, but a Jiva is like a particle of the gold. But the particle of the gold has been contaminated when it comes in touch with the Supreme Lord. Jiva is same in quality, but in minute in quantity. Whereas and it's always subordinate to the Ishvara, tendency to control is always there, but are always conditioned and controlled by the Supreme Lord. Whereas Jiva are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord and considered as Prakriti, he wants to enjoy in this material world. So he's considered superior to Prakriti actually. And then there is this Kal is there. Kal is above all the different modes and is the energy of the Supreme Lord, which is acting on all the living entities. In fact, acting on over the material nature also. And then there is karma. Karma is nothing but the combination of the modes, and it's under the control of the purview of this eternal time. These activities are there, and these activities, when they are performed by the living entities, they are called karma. Activities are carried out from time immemorial, and we are suffering and enjoying the result of these activities, the fruits of these activities. Like a businessman, if he saves nice money and he has a lot of bank balance, then he can enjoy the fruits. If he doesn't have anything, he becomes a pauper. So it depends on what kind of activities or what kind of karma he's been saving. So karma is not eternal, whereas it changes because of the change in knowledge or change in consciousness of the living entity. So this changes again and again. So can anyone tell a few differences between the Lord and the living entity? Let us discuss this also a little bit.
Lord appears in this world at his own will.
Yes, Lord appears in this
Not
world
forced.
on will. Yes.
Lord is in everyone's heart, but we are only in our heart.
Okay, we are only in our heart. It's like Kshetragya. He is the knowledge of, if you consider the 13th chapter, he is Kshetragya and we are Kshetragya. We are like the knowledge of we are the knower of the field, but he's knower of the complete field, and we just know little bit about our own body. We can understand what is happening inside our body. Whereas the Supreme Lord can understand what is happening all throughout the universe. All throughout actually, he can know everything about everyone. Yes, go ahead.
Also, Srila Prabhupada says that we can compare Ishwar to us through like ocean and a drop of water. So quantity wise, Lord is Mahan, big, but quality wise, we could have qualities, similar to Lord.
Yes,
Am I right?
Yes. We can have quality similar to the Lord, but quantity wise, we can never be like the same example like gold and gold mine, and same way water of drop from the ocean and the complete ocean. Yes. Yes. Anything more? Any other differences?
The opulence is basically,
Okay.
basically part of that qualities and quantities thing.
Okay, qualities and quantity. There are many different.
Also,
Lord.
like when the Lord comes, whether it comes like a Damodar, baby Damodar, or he comes in the Kurukshetra war, he's equally powerful.
Yes.
But human being as a child is pretty helpless, and when he grows big like a tree, big tree, then they have some power or whatever. Like that difference is there.
Yeah, Prabhu, he is all powerful, all beautiful,
Yeah.
all opulent.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So the thing is, Lord is not affected by any karma. We are affected by karma. Lord is a controller. Whereas we are like controlled or conditioned. Lord is residing in everyone's heart as Paramatma. Every living entity is residing. Every atom is residing as Paramatma. But whereas we reside only in our body, Lord can travel with living entities in all the destinations as Paramatma. Whereas we cannot travel. We can travel only based on our karma. So karma can be changed when the living entity acts in different modes. But for the Lord, there's no change of karma anytime because he's not affected by karma at all. So these are few of the differences actually, between the living entity and the non and the Ishwar. I'll just um, uh, should I stop here and see, because we have completed almost like 50% of our introduction. Few more things are there which we can discuss maybe later. Because now it's 8:15, 8:20. By the time we just complete our discussion, it will be 8:20.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Any questions or any comments or any reflections from what we have discussed from Bhagavad Gita as an introduction? I have not read the complete introduction, but I have made few subheadings. Just I underlined, but we have gone through the almost like 40 to 50 or 60% of the introduction has been over, I feel, according to my understanding. There again, there are a lot of things which are discussed in the introduction. Is at the end, Prabhupada discuss about the glories of Gita Upanishad, that is there. He speaks about all this Shankaracharya glorifying Bhagavad Gita, that are like the few things. And then he speaks about the purpose of Vedic knowledge, Vedic literature. He explains more detailedly, uh, clearly about all the aspects that can also be covered next time, I feel. Yes, any questions or any reflections?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. It was very wonderful, very enlightening class, Prabhuji. Always you go into deep, which makes us understand a lot of things. Yes, and you mentioned about the avatars. Like we all know, there were many avatars which Lord came on this planet. But there is one more avatar which is supposed to come, that is Kalki avatar. So would you please briefly explain on that, and what will be the time when Kalki avatar will be appeared on the earth?
Kalki avatar, Lord comes according to his own will, and whenever the situation demands that, where there is no establishment of dharma, during that time Lord descends. And there are different times when Lord appears. There is when Lord appears in every yuga. Yuga avatar we call. Lord appears when there is, Manmantar avatars are there. Different avatars are there which come actually. In fact, in the first canto, third chapter, when the descriptions of different avatars are there, you know, our Sukdev Goswami, he tells that, Sutta Goswami, he tells that there's so many incarnations, like just like in the waves of ocean, in the ocean there are different waves coming at every point. So there are so many incarnations which come actually. So there are so many incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead come. But none of the incarnations are like completely incomplete. They are always complete in themselves, and they come to establish the religion actually. They come to protect the devotees and annihilate the miscreants and to re-establish the dharma. That is one of the main reasons that, the Lord comes to 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 this material world. So Lord comes specifically to establish the kind of quality of the
We can't hear, Prabhuji. We can't hear.
Yeah, your voice is breaking.
Now is it clear?
Clear, but very low. Now we can't hear at all.
1 second. Hare Krishna.
There, now it's good.
Now is it audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So paritrānāya sadhuna vināshaya dushkitam dharma samsthapanardhaya sambhavami yuge. So Lord comes to establish, establish this thing. So at the time of Kali Yuga, a time will come when there will be no religion which will be practiced. And during that time, it is described in the first canto, third chapter, or in the 12th canto also. It is described the symptoms of Kali Yuga. That Kali Yuga will degrade so much that people will live for a very short span of life, and in fact, what they will be eating, they will be eating each other only. That will be the state of Kali Yuga, mentality of Kali Yuga Vasis. So, and there will be quarrel and hypocrisy and wars which are going to take place constantly. And during that time, just to annihilate the miscreants, Kalki Avatar will come. So, this is what I can tell you. The more details are there in the Srimad Bhagvatam, which I have to see to explain more about Kalki Avatar. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, I read somewhere like Kalki Avatar will be like so advanced that it will no doubt is going to appear on the horse, but Krishna, but the horse speed of that Kalki Avatars like will be same as like bullets. It is going to be so fast.
It will
Something
be,
mentioned. Yeah.
with one stroke of Kalki, there will be so many living entities which will be killed actually. So definitely Kalki Avatar will be very strong just to annihilate evil come. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Any other?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving such a wonderful class. So, Prabhuji, I had a question that we know that the Supreme Absolute Truth, as you mentioned, Prabhuji, Ishwar is realized in three aspects, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So, they say that Brahman is impersonal and Brahma Jyoti is also impersonal. So, is Brahman and Brahma Jyoti the same or are they different?
Sorry, Brahman and Brahma.
Yes, they both are impersonal. So, are they the same or
Yeah,
are they?
yeah, actually both are same. That is nothing. Brahma Jyoti or Brahman is nothing but the effulgence coming from the body of the
Okay.
Supreme Lord. When it comes, there's a portion in the creation of this material world. There is a portion called Brahma Jyoti or Brahma. Call it, both are same. And these are nothing but this place where people, some of the practitioner of impersonalists, they want to go and merge in this existence in Brahma Jyoti because they don't have anything else to do. So that is what they want to do. That they want to not be in touch with the Supreme Lord, not be the material world. They want to just be negating and be in that situation called Brahma Jyoti, where they want to find happiness just by being in a state of uh, uh, in an inactive state. They want to find happiness. So that is Brahma Jyoti.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Anything else, or should we end here now?
Prabhuji, I have one question. If others don't have a question,
Yeah.
so related to your class, it is very easy to sometimes live in the material world and remember Krishna. Time and again, many things make us remind us of Krishna. Like we are sometimes thinking that like we're chanting or we're doing all these things, and definitely yeah. So basically, there are a lot of things that will remind us of Krishna. But what is it that? How do we understand that? It's very hard for us to remember one thing, that we are not the body, because we are living in the body, and suppose I tell myself also that I'm not this body. So because being in a very material conditioned situation, and it is very important to actually understand this, that we are not the body, because like Prabhupada has repeated so many times. So how that consciousness can be kept, that we are not the body, but it's easy to remember Krishna. So some thoughts you have on this, how we can, that we will be more focused on our Krishna consciousness. We'll be more carrying a bhav of, the six opulences Krishna has, like Vairagya and other things. I mean, I'm not saying the other ones we will not have. As we are aging, we won't, but like at least that one bhav of the six opulences, Vairagya, will come into us through the, thinking that we're not the body. So if you can share some thoughts, that'll be nice. Thank you, Prabhuji. And a wonderful class. Thank you for association.
I can definitely tell how we can contemplate that we are not this body. It's very, very simple to understand. This body is very, very temporary in one way, and it starts giving, as a living entity, you want to be very happy. You want to enjoy in this material world, but this body sometimes becomes like an obstruction for us. We cannot eat too full of our capacity also. If there are 100 gulab jamuns which are offered to you, how much can we eat? We can eat just one or two. If we eat more, sometimes we are afraid of getting diabetic. Or, as the body is growing old, as you were telling now, the body starts giving so much trouble actually. After age of 40, 50, the body starts really troubling us. And that time we understand also we are, entrapped in this body actually. We are not this body, but we are entrapped in this body. And we can see the changes what the body has gone through. As a small child, we were like so young with so much energy, so much enthusiasm to do many things. We had that great passion. But now the passion has gone down, over the growth of years. We are just into mode of trying to establish ourselves or, trying to situate ourselves in a very nice, comfortable situation. But this material world and material body always will keep giving us trouble again and again. So this material body is going to be like this. That body will be very, very temporary. Body will be like giving trouble. So if whatever we have, well, the best thing in becoming a devotee of the Lord is that we can utilize this body in the service of the Lord. And we can establish our relationship with the Supreme Lord just by having this body, just by using this body. So one can take proper utilization of his energy, his body actually, by establishing his relationship with the Supreme Lord. So that is one best thing about having this body that we can utilize. Prabhupada tells this is like a bad bargain. Whatever we have, we try to utilize it in the service of the Lord. So this body is there, which is very, very temporary, which will be giving a lot of trouble, but we can really utilize this body just to perform devotional service and quit this body and find the next eternal body, that is the spiritual body, what has been waiting for us. If we practice devotional service very nicely, perfect our life and go back home back to Godhead in this life only, then it will be very easy actually that we can get a very nice spiritual body. There are a few examples I can tell you. When we see in the mirror, we should always think that this is not what I am standing in front of the mirror. I am a spirit soul. If we just keep telling this thing, keep telling or keep reminding ourselves, then we really think, because what we see from outside is very, very temporary. This body keeps changing. Sometimes we have a fat body, sometimes when we pass, when we get disease, we get a thin body, weak body, and sometimes the body is changing. It's been changing constantly, it's been changing, but we are not prone to understand how much change is happening in our body. But there is constant change what is happening actually in our body. So it's like, this body is a place, I've seen like whenever you see anything which is very, very temporary, or when one of the things when we can understand that the body is very, very temporary is when we go to do the final rites of a living entity. When someone dies and when we attend the final rites, we can see how the body actually gets lost within seconds or what? Within minutes, the body is lost. There's nothing which remains. The body is very, very temporary. Just by seeing the cremation or seeing the final rites of the living entity, we can see very clearly how the body is very, very temporary. Radhanath Maharaj writes in his journey home that, when he was traveling around, he happened to come to this place of Varanasi called Manikarnya Ghat. And during the Manikarnya Ghat, he used to sit on the opposite side of the Ganges and he used to sit and observe what used to happen. Day in and day out, he used to just sit there and he used to observe. So many living entities, bodies are brought to that shore of Ganges, and body after body is burned. It's like just burning. The fire is always on there at least, and they are consuming the living entities, whoever is coming and leaving the body there at Kashi. And just by seeing that thing, Maharaj writes in the journey home that I can see the temporary nature of this material world and the material body, and how this material body will be finished over a period of time. So these things have to be established. Sometimes we observe very strongly. When we see this, then we can understand the nature of this material world and the material body. Material body is so temporary. Small cut, small knife which cuts our hand takes so much, it gives so much pain to us. While cutting vegetables, if we are not careful, we cut our finger. How much pain, how much blood is goes, and then how much time it takes to recover actually. So it's all temporary thing actually what is happening here in this material world. You can see many things. The observation has to be very strong. And other thing what I can tell you is if we read or hear proper lecture every day, because proper again and again repeats this thing very clearly in his lectures. We are not this body, we are spirit soul. And our thing is to establish our relationship with the Lord. So if we keep hearing proper lectures again and again, it's very easy for us to come to the conclusion that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. And our eternal life and our eternal thing, our eternal Sarup is there in the spiritual world, which we need to attain by the process of bhakti. If you do this thing, it's very easy. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, and like you mentioned, one thing that whenever we hear of death, we have to remember one thing that basically what you mentioned is that it is, it's a good reminder. Instead of pondering over how death happened, what happened, and all that, it's basically temporary life, and however much we can do bhakti and read and things like that. So death should be basically a reminder that we are not the body.
Yes.
Yeah. You mentioned about Radhanath Maharaj, how he was seeing bodies, but generally in the Indian or Hindu culture, they don't put the body in the Ganges, right? They put in the ashes.
They burn that is Manikarna Ghat is the place where they burn the dead bodies actually. So he was sitting on the other side of the river and seeing the dead bodies getting burnt every time. It's like the final
Okay.
mistake. So that was taking place during that time.
And which place was this where your Guru Maharaj was there? Manipat, where is that?
This is Varanasi, Kashi. Uh, this is a ghat called Manikarna Ghat on the banks of the river Ganges.
Yes, and it always reminds me this thought I've never shared. It's an internal thought, like how Srila Prabhupada, he came to the west with so much of difficulty, and how Radhana Maharaj, with so much difficulty, he went to the east.
Yes.
So it's amazing. Whenever I think about it and contemplate on Radhana Maharaj, I've read few of the pages, not completely, of some of the books he's written, but then it's amazing the journey he went through, and then finally he had to meet Srila Prabhupada only.
Yes, yes.
So that was his amazing. Our Guru Maharajas are like they all have like wonderful stories. Yeah, I think somebody had a question. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the answer, and I'll try to remember I'm not the body. Hare Krishna.
Yes. One last thing before we end.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhu, what a wonderful discussion. Thank you so much for nice explanations and interactive session. Prabhu, I have one question about reading Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam and staying enthusiastic about that reading. The problem is we read for some time and then I don't know what happens. Like you just don't feel like reading. You just want to. I'm talking about myself. I just want to listen, and then I lose taste. Then I have to like. It's a lot of efforts to bring myself back to bring it back to reading. So how do you like? What's the way of keeping that spirit like constant? Yeah.
Constant spirit of enthusiasm For that, one should be in the association of devotees and try to establish, his sadhana very strongly. Even if you are not there in the association, so that if you're not there, you should come and take the association more seriously. In that association, again and again, it is reminded that we are not reading, or we are not hearing, or we are not chanting. Then this thing is very clearly mentioned in the association of devotees. That time, whenever we come in the association of devotees, it has to be very clear what we are doing. We are coming and reading about Prabhupada books. We are glorifying Prabhupada. We are glorifying Krishna. We are glorifying his devotees. We are, hearing about him. We are reading about him. We are chanting the names of the Lord. Not like just we go to the temple, do some service, and then come back. But there also we should try to establish our sadhana very strongly. So association of devotees will only help you whenever, because what happens as a living entity when we live alone, our tendency is to do whatever is very very comfortable. मेरे को जो अच्छा लगता है मैं वही करूंगा. That is the tendency, and sometimes, most of the times, we forget to do our basic sadhana, of reading books, or hearing. That should be like the soul, that the food for the soul, and we forget to give the food for the soul. हमारा क्या है, बस आज का माला हो गया, somehow we have completed our chanting, or some of our vows, whatever we have taken of our sadhana. If we have completed here and there, that's it, चलो हो गया आज का जीवन, ऐसा रहता है, आज का day हो गया. But that is not spiritual practice. Spiritual practice means moment to moment we are trying to improve our consciousness. And for that, we are trying to remind ourselves again and again about the instructions given by the Lord and Prabhupada has given in his books. So we want to come in touch with Prabhupada books more and more constantly. Every day we should take a vow, like, Krishnanand Prabhu, he makes the devotees take a vow that they will not eat breakfast till the time they complete their chanting. Sometimes you have asked that, every day we should read at least for 30 minutes. Every day, that is minimum. Prabhupada writes so many times, my disciples will at least read 2 hours every day, my books. Because what will happen when you read Prabhupada books is, your vision becomes very clear, your understanding becomes very clear, your desires are getting purified. Or else what will happen when we don't read, our desires are very, very, they multiply like anything. And then we want to have so many different desires which are taking us away from Krishna. So if you don't read Prabhupada books, then we get into trapped in one way, in Maya, just entrapping us and taking us away from Krishna actually. So one has to take this thing very seriously. And for that, one should take the association of devotees very seriously. Whenever we have association, we should try just not to discuss what is happening in your life, what is happening in my life. Just discuss, open a book and read for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and see how what Prabhupada speaks, Krishna speaks. My God, amazing things can happen. So this is what one should try to do actually. Okay.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Dandavat.
No, Hare Krishna. Jai, we will end here. I also should be attending.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this excellent introduction of Bhagavad Gita. Because there are so many new devotees join nowadays. So that's why we started again Bhagavad Gita.
No problem.
So introduction Bhagavad Gita was very nice. So now we will do one chapter or summary of Bhagavad Gita every Sunday. Then we'll start the Prabhupada Lilamrit.
Okay. So next 18 weeks we will be having like one chapter summary. Huh?
Yeah, if the chapter is bigger, then we can have like 2 Sundays or 3 Sundays like.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think introduction for today Bhagavad Gita will be considered as done.
As per you, Prabhuji, if you are okay. Then
No. That I have just covered everything. The last few things what I have not covered is the glorification of Bhagavad Gita, what Shankaracharya is. So that stuff, and we can start the first chapter summary if it is required next week.
Prabhuji. Yeah. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Let's pay our senses to all the Vaishnavas, Vancha Kalpataruvasya Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnav ki jai. Acharya Shri Das Thakur ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Gita ki jai. Shri Gopal Pran Prabhu ki jai. Na Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Hari